everyone, and welcome to the National Flute Association's inaugural diversity vlog. I'm your host, Elizabeth Janzen. Welcome to my kitchen. And I am delighted to welcome my friend and colleague, Dulce Rodriguez, as our very first guest. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Dulce. Dulce is in her 11th year as an assistant band director at San Benito High School in South Texas, where she directs the flute studio. She is also head director at Veterans Memorial Academy, where she conducts the 9th grade wind ensemble. Dulce received her Bachelor of Music Education from University of Texas at Brownsville and holds a Master's of Music in Flute Performance from Texas Tech University. During her undergrad studies, she performed with the UTB Orchestra in Puebla, Mexico, and also performed at Soundscape in Pavia, Italy. Her primary teachers include Dr. Lisa Garner, Dr. Christina Bellatori, and Miss Celeste Canant. And I just want to add, before I welcome Dulce officially, I'm so excited that she is our first guest. I have the privilege of being able to nominate the first one. And Dulce and I have known each other for about 8 years now. And when I first arrived in South Texas, it became immediately clear that she was a force to be reckoned with when it came to flute and music education. And she's made such an impact on young flutists here in South Texas that when we started this idea for the vlog, I knew immediately that she would be a great candidate. So welcome, Dulce.
Thank you. Thank you. It's
You're very
exciting
welcome.
to be here.
So can you tell us a little bit about, what inspired you to start on that instrument and some of your experiences as you got going and decided to make that part of your career?
Okay, so public education, right? I started flute in sixth grade. However, when I was first in middle school, I actually chose to be in art as an elective. I was not in band, but I got to art class and they made us write vocabulary words. And as a sixth grader, I was like, whoa, this is supposed to be my elective. This is supposed to be something fun. I am not about to write vocabulary words, you know. And I was there maybe like for 6 weeks or so. And I remember talking to my best friend about it. And I was like, we have to write vocabulary words. And I mean, again, I'm 11 years old and I just didn't want to do that. And she's like, why don't you join band? And I was like, isn't it late? She was already telling me like, oh, we're starting on head joint and we're doing this. I'm like, isn't it too late? And she's like, I'll ask my teacher. And I was like, okay, but like if I join, like what am I gonna play? Like I don't even know the instruments. I don't even know what interests me. And I am not kidding. My best friend was just like, play flute like me. And I was just like, sounds like a great plan. Let's do this. And that's how I chose flute. It's interesting because this friend stayed, like she was my best friend all through high school. And she actually quit flute. Like she quit in high school. She wasn't, but I was still her friend. And she's like, it's so crazy that you started and now you're doing this and you're doing that. And then I graduated and I started studying. And she's like, this is insane. Like you're still doing band. Like, yeah, I mean, it's not band anymore. I'm actually like a career out of it. I'm like, I'm still doing band years later.
Is there anything that you remember from those early years that really had a big impact on you continuing on the instrument?
I started late, obviously, so that was a challenge. So I had to play catch up, and I was really lucky that I told my dad I wanted to play flute, and I'm like, but the teacher said that I need to provide my own instrument because it's super late and everybody's already starting, and I don't have, an instrument. So my dad got me the flute right away, so that was really nice. In middle school, I was tonguing extremely hard. I was trying too hard, so it was like
Mhm.
I had to get it perfect. So it was like heavy, and now I could just tell them you need to lighten up. Like it's not that big of a deal. You're making it way harder than it is. But I think it's a lot of the challenges that I face help me identify the issues in my students a lot easier and faster because of it.
Are there any great flute players out there that you really look up to that are musicians that you encourage your own students to listen to for inspiration or for musicality and artistry?
There's so many flute players that, because of the power of internet, that we have easy access, right? So, I
Especially
mean,
during COVID.
yeah, well, see, and it's funny you say that because I think I've been exposed to different flute players because of COVID. I went to this one masterclass, and I'm trying to remember who hosted this masterclass, but it was Lorna McKee.
Oh, it was
Oh,
Terry Sundberg at UNT hosted it.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
during the
So
summer.
I went to that. I
Yes, it
went
was
to that,
great.
and oh man, like she was just playing, and I was like, oh, that's triple tonguing, and that's really, and her tone doesn't break, and it's just this like deep, gorgeous, like sound. So she was one of the first flute players I featured with my students when we got back in July. I'm like, guys, no, you need to listen to this flute player. And I like showed them a YouTube video and I made them write about it. And they were all like, what? And I was like, right? Like, and it was awesome because you just, you get exposed to different things that, it would have been way more expensive, or it would have been like to try to, negotiate something or just schedule something like that. And it was just like a click and you were able to like experience it firsthand. And there's just so many different classes that have been going on that I just got exposed not only to different flute players, but the different ideas or just different like, and some of them were just, they were just talking like we are, and just snippets of like, oh my God, that's genius. I've never thought of anything like that. And it was just very, very eye-opening. And it was nice to see that, the what we're doing is just so much bigger than just music.
So, Dulce, uh, this whole vlog is under the umbrella of the Diversity and Inclusion Committee that I'm a member of. And you and I both live and work in South Texas. You grew up here, though. And many people here in South Texas have a Hispanic background. Has that has that influenced your career in music in any way?
So I think the biggest, I mean, and obviously, yes, from beginning to end, why I chose it, the way I teach, the way I deliver some of my analogies with my students, everything really goes back to my culture, and the way I communicate with them. But I think like the biggest one is probably going to be Flute Fiesta. And so Flute Fiesta is this event that, it all started. I started Flute Fiesta a random Saturday because I wanted to. It was around El Día de la Independencia for Mexico, which is September 16th, and that's my dad's birthday also. But it's a Mexican holiday, so I wanted to make it a theme, but just bring in my kids to practice for like 3 hours, and that's how I tricked them. We do something fun for an hour and then we practice for 3 hours. But it was a full-on theme. The first year was just 30 of my kids and we had fun, and we just like, hey, we're gonna have, we're gonna practice and we're gonna dress up in our costumes, like Mexican costumes, that, shirts or like different hair, bows, and everybody was dressed up, and we practiced for a full 3 hours. And then at the end of the day we had tacos and we played loteria, and we had Mexican music going at the end, and my kids ended up dancing like if it was a full-on quinceañera. Like these kids just like went embraced their culture. But that's how it first started. It was just like us, like I'm very big on making themes of different things, and this was just, it landed on that date. That was the only day we had off because of football season, and it just happened to be on the same day. So I saw this idea and I just ran with it, and that's how it first started. I just wanted to get my kids in to practice on a Saturday before things got really crazy because of football season, and they just, they had a lot of fun. They loved it. So then every year after that, oh, we're doing this, right? And it just developed into the following year. Well, let's invite other schools. I don't know if anybody's interested, but let's invite other schools to this. And the second year was 60 students because we invited
Wow.
schools from there. Then the year after that went to 120 because we just opened it up. And then, pre-COVID, the last year that we had in 2019, we were at 200 registrations for this event. All of South Texas, was the community. It was just awesome to see like all these kids embracing their culture. I mean, yes, so it brought both of the things that I love together. It brought flute and it brought our Mexican culture just together into this huge event that was like, we had middle school kids there, we had high school kids there, we had our college students help out as well. And it was just like, it was really neat to see all of the students embracing their culture and then also enjoying themselves with like having different master classes and classes going on to just experience flute as well. So it's really, really neat what it's developed into.
Thank you so much, Dulce. It was a pleasure having coffee with you and chatting with you about the flute. And I'm so excited that other members of NFA will be able to see this on YouTube. What a great way to kickstart our new vlog series. And I'll see everybody next month. Thank you, Dulce. Have a great 2021.
Bye.